Hello, my name is Ken Sabatier, and I'm the general manager for EcoT, and yeah, oversee a lot of the soil health research that we've been doing with our biologicals, as well as a variety of other plant products and crop inputs. But the purpose of this presentation today is not to talk about our product, but to talk about how a farm can benchmark a soil health plan. Um, and over the past 7 years, I've heard feedback from farmers who try biological products saying, I use the product, but at the end of the year, I didn't see anything. And my first response to that question has been, well, what are you looking for? Understandably, yield and dollars in your pocket are what a farmer is looking for. Uh, but biology does so much more in terms of benefiting the soil, which ultimately benefits the plants and the farm bottom line. Uh, but a lot of those changes or those effects take time, and they're not a yield change. They result in a yield change, but you need to, I guess, understand if you're investing in a biological or you're taking a soil health approach on your farm, uh, what type of changes are you looking for, and how can you measure them? And thankfully, we have a number of good answers to that, and that'll be the aim of this presentation. So first of all, I want to emphasize that soil, I believe, it's the only input that a crop, or the only crop input that a farmer truly owns, other than your common seed. Uh, you control it, and you can determine what its destiny is, whether it's going to get old and tired, or whether you can keep it growing and being healthier for generations to come. And the other element in there is that no amount of chemical applications can change your soil attributes positively over time. Uh, the soil behaviors and uh, good soil attributes do have chemical elements to them, but those elements pivot actually on biology. And there's some physical practices that can help improve the soil. Uh, but all these concepts interrelate, and actually, even when you think of some of the soil health things that have been talked about, so tillage, it's not the tillage that in itself affects the soil. The fact that you don't till enables mycorrhizae, fungi, to thrive more effectively in your soil, and that fungi helps build carbons and nutrient deficiencies and a variety of different things. Living roots in the soil. Everyone hears how cover crops are, the big soil health thing. It's the roots themselves do have a bit of an effect in terms of just opening up porosity and things like that, but it's the roots that are stimulating and creating an environment for microbes, and that interrelation between the plant and microbes that are ultimately changing the physical attributes of the soil. So uh, a good soil health plan on a farm, soil health and changes in your soil pivot on biology. And the more practices that you do both in the physical realm and in the chemical realm that help biology in your soil to thrive, uh, that the research that we've done within EcoT and worldwide, uh, that is actually what leads and builds soil health. But now, how do we measure that? So, uh, identifying your goals is first of all, what is biology capable of doing? It improves the soil by adding carbon, and that's done by the plant producing sugar exudates because they're trying to feed the biology that are feeding the plant, and there's a symbiotic relationship that happens in there. Uh, this picture that you see on the right, that is actually really young wheat plants, just done on some soil trials here that we do in the winter out at our site. And the wheat plant on the left, this is uh, a seed that had no Eco-T seed dressing applied, no biology or biostimulants applied. And the seed on the right had Eco-T liquid seed dressing in our biostimulant package uh, used. And that illustrates, so all of those, that soil adhering to those roots on the right plant that has the biological relationship, that is carbons and glues and glomulins, they're called, that are uh, both carbon exudates and as well making the soil stickier and stick to the plant when you have a high moisture event. So uh, yeah, that's just a picture of one of these plants are producing more carbon than the other. Uh, as well, that soil that's sticking to those roots, if you have a lot of rain or wet soils in the spring, those are holding nutrients to your plant, whereas the other one, those nutrients are washing away. Uh, so uh, this is just illustrating some of the goals or things that what happens when you add biology. And so how do you measure it? Uh, here's here's your standard soil test, and I call it's a chemical soil test. The only non-chemical thing that it really measures is your degree of organic matter. And most farmers that I've met over my career in agriculture uh, aren't talking about how their organic matter is increasing year over year. Uh, so uh, making sure that you've got a soil test that measures soil health attributes. And so in our own research, and they're not allowed. They're in the past. There's been very few labs that have soil tests that measure soil health or microbial things. A&L Labs in Canada were the first ones that sort of had a commercially available test. Uh, they now have three tests that their complexities have developed. So they have a soil health test 2 that just comes and measures 3 variables. They have a soil health test 1. This that you're seeing here is called the soil health test 2. And then they have a more complicated one that actually measure specific microbes. We didn't use that one though because it's the variability in every test and what's living and in and out of the root zone was so big that uh, we came back to this test here. Uh, and key things that you're looking for is measuring different measurements for your carbon. So your water soluble carbon and your organic matter. That carbon comes in different forms. Your carbon to nitrogen ratio is important. A good healthy soil has a C/N score of 10. Uh, and yeah, so lower or higher means that there's some type of a soil imbalance in there. Uh, as well in this test, it's a simple test and its accuracy, uh, it's not a micro test, it's a macro test. It's called a Solvita. Basically, they see how much CO2 your soil respires, which is an indication of your microbial activity. Because as microbes are living things themselves, and the more CO2 being produced means the more microbes that are active in your soil. So anyway, this soil test here, it still provides all your chemical attributes, but it has a number of soil health attributes that you can benchmark a field to and see how they measure up. Their Chinook Applied Research Association in Oyen, Alberta, does have a more detailed test. They came up with it just a year or two ago. We're going to start using it in some of our trials, but I don't have a lot of details on it other than it is a more thorough and detailed soil health test than this one. But it is $100 more expensive. This test that you're looking at is $170 plus your shipping fees for the soil, whereas the Chinook Applied Research Association test is $270 per test. So baselining your compaction, that is the other thing to do. And this it's free other than your time and $300 penetrometer. Uh, the picture that I have here on the left is one of the fields that I call it a project field. For the last 4 years, we've been working with a farm not far away that had compaction issues. And so in year one, our benchmarking, just to illustrate what was happening in the field, is uh, this is a shovel full, and I'll say full as in terms of this is about all we could get in because the compaction was so hard. You could get a shovel in about 1.5 inches, and then that's what that lump on the right is heavily compacted, uh, yeah, loamy clay soil out northeast of Winnipeg. Just adjacent to that field, walked 5 feet into the ditch along the road allowance, and this is what the soil looked like. And when I was speaking with the farmer, I was saying 20 years ago, your soil probably looked like this soil in the ditch, and he nodded. Uh, but heavy chemical use over the years, tillage, all the different things that hurt soil health, it turned, nice crumbly loamy soil into soil that is virtually cement. As well, penetrometer. So you on the left is just a simple visual assessment, but if you want to get a technical assessment, get a penetrometer. Basically, you're pushing it in, and once you hit the 250 psi zone, is when that's your compaction zone, where most plant roots cannot penetrate past 250 psi. And therefore, if you have a 2-inch compaction zone, that's how much root depth that your plant can get. And drought, it basically makes your plant really susceptible to too much water or too little water. Another farm test that you can do is it's called a macro aggregation test, slake test, and basically you take a shovelful, clump of soil, you let it dry out for a day or two. You don't want to just throw wet soil into the water. You let that soil dry out of the sunlight, preferably, so it doesn't bake. And then you basically make a little metal screen out of some either metal mesh, and you put your soil into the water, and you time how fast it takes for that soil to break apart, and you can benchmark that. So and here's an illustration of a soil health project that EcoT runs out in Langham, Saskatchewan, and these are from different plots that have been in the project for the same length of time. On the left is where we've been using a more regenerative program with lots of EcoT and fewer salty fertilizers. And on the right is just your grower standard. So this cloudiness, that is carbon and organic matter that's running off. And it's because there isn't as much carbon, and there aren't these glomulins or these glues that are holding the soil together. So this is a benchmark as well that just shows you how well aggregated your soil is. And aggregated meaning carbon is what this pivots on, and it's like little carbon molecules that are providing like a rebar structure to your soil, but at the microscopic level. Another very easy test to do is how your water behaves, or how your field behaves with water. When there's a big rain event, where does the water go? To the low spot in your field, or does it go in the ditch or in your soil down to your roots and held for when you need it? This is linked to your better soil aggregation will result in better water infiltration. So all that takes, and I've got is a steel ring here. You want it to be nice and robust so that it can get through that compaction zone. A hammer, a 2x4 so that you're not smashing your steel ring, and you pound it into the soil. And there's YouTube videos that can show you this. Uh, Now, for a 4-inch tube, which is this size here, uh, I actually prefer to use a 6-inch, but a 4-inch tube, you use 210 milliliters of water represents 1 inch of rain, and then you just time how long it takes for that water to disappear, and that's your benchmark. So make sure you've got the same area in your field or areas in your field. It's good to do. You don't want to do it on your tractor ruts. You want to do it uh, uh, in between row, like mid row. As well, you can do it. You will get better infiltration where you have plants growing because the roots and the aggregation in the happens better in the rhizosphere. But it's basically a benchmark, and year over year in a soil health plan, you can see both your aggregation and your water infiltration improve significantly. The other thing you can do, benchmarking. So this microbiometer, it costs $190 US. It is a patented, proven tool out of the US. We carry it here at EcoT for our farms because it basically gives you, within 40 minutes, you have a score of how microbially active that sample is that you put in. And the sample for this, you take such low amounts of soil, you take them off the root zone. Mid-row, where there are no living roots, you have far less microbial activity, and most of that microbial activity has nothing to do with the plant. Plant microbes need plants, which is why cover crops and living roots have benefits. So the microbiometer score, it gives you a gross number. So in this case here, I think we've got 270 carbon units per gram. This is actually too small. I don't have my reading glasses on. It's a benchmark score. So what exactly that means, you don't need to know, other than it's 270. Now, where you have lots of microbes, so this is a test where there's no EcoT, and where there is EcoT, there is 573 things. Once again, it's a benchmark. 573 is more and better than 370, or whatever that number is on the smaller card there. The other thing it tells you is your bacterial to fungal ratio, which is important because most soils on the prairies and soils that have heavy chemical tillage, fungicide, blah, blah, all the different things, they are fungal deficient. And fungi actually really helps with nutrient breakdown and phosphorus availability. So where you have no applied EcoT or biological, your fungal to bacterial ratio is poor. More bacteria, less fungi. Where you have EcoT present, your fungal to bacterial ratio is more balanced. Anyway, this whole kit that's on your left is $190, and then these test strips are $10 per test. So really, when you're talking soil tests and farm tests, this is something that you can do yourself. It's very easy to do, and it doesn't cost a lot. And you can benchmark, and you will, where you have healthy soil and where you don't, this is a very accurate test, and it's very consistent. So I've just summarized in this presentation different methods, techniques that you can do yourself on how to benchmark a soil health plan. But to have a soil health plan, you have to have biology in it. The biology is the lead factor that enables chemical and physical changes to impact soil health. So it's all three things working together. As well, the new soil tests that they have and some of the tools and techniques that I've showed you are proven ways to benchmark what you're doing and whether your goals are being achieved. The other thing it does is by benchmarking on fields that you are doing no changes, you can actually see if you're making your fields worse or if they're not changing at all year over year. Because our goal here is to improve the soils. Uh, but as well in our trials that we've been doing within EcoT, where we don't use biology, after 3 years, the soils did actually get worse, that's good to know too. Yes, we're making soils better, but if we didn't change things, they actually got worse. Uh, and the end result in that is when you have healthier soils, better aggregation, uh, your nutrients are more available. You can be more efficient with your spring inputs. Uh, you will not need as much nitrogen and applied phosphorus because your plants access more and they can actually get more out of the soil. Like unavailable phosphorus can become available because there's more biology doing that. And yes, the less that farms have to use or handle fungicides, the better. Less seed segregation. They are very poisonous. They work because they kill fungi. Uh, but the healthier your soil is, the more disease resistant it is. That is a fact. And the last thing uh, and probably your biggest benefit is as a resilient soil. Uh, it's your most important crop input, and you want to treat it well, and you want to make it more resilient because you can't haul new soil onto your farm. So uh, let's see if we can turn that Model T soil into a Ferrari. Thank you.